Escape Pod, Episode 631, Heart of Ash, Heart of Steam, by Melon Edwards.
Hello, and welcome to Escape Pod, your weekly science fiction podcast. I am your host this week, Tina Connolly, and I am here to bring you Heart of Ash, Heart of Steam by Melon Edwards. This story first appeared in the Steampunk Universe anthology from Alliteration Inc. Melon Edwards was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, but now lives in the greater Toronto area, where he was lured by his beautiful Canadian wife. Many of his short stories are set in an alternate Chicago and feature people of color. Currently, he serves as Managing Director and Grants Administrator for the Speculative Literature Foundation, which provides a number of grants for writers of speculative literature. Find him online at Melon Lewis on Twitter. That's MALONLOUIS. Or at melonedwards.com. Your narrator this week is Mandali Louis Shaw. Mandali Louis Shaw, the Haitian Creole blogger at sweetcoconuts.blogspot.com, was born in Port-au-Prince and raised at Arcahie, Haiti. While her parents moved to the United States in search of a better life for the family, she and her siblings were raised by her aunt and several caretakers who came from many different parts of the beautiful Caribbean island. The bedtime tales she heard from these caretakers were stories filled with courage, bravery, and resilience. She grew up surrounded by courageous and spirited people like the ones in the tales. Later, when she settled with her family in Florida, she continued to uphold her beloved tradition of recounting tales to her own children. She feels that it is important that her children understand the other half of their history. She teaches them that they are the products of two cultures and how to embrace them both. She remains passionate about her heritage and her home country and cherishes the welcoming spirit of the United States that received her with open arms and gave her a second home. She works to ensure that her culture, traditions, and primary language will always be remembered by creating the Haitian Creole blog about the national language of Haiti. She has worked with MIT linguist Michel Degraff on the very first video of the Haitian Creole alphabet, to make it fun for Haitian schoolchildren to learn their language, which was once not allowed on school grounds or in the curriculum. When she is not working as a hospice nurse, she is translating documents in Creole or biking on the Pinellas Trail in Tarpon Springs area, where she lives with her 3 children. So get ready to rev up your heart engines, because it's story time.
Heart of Ash, Heart of Steam by Melon Edwards. You squeeze through the doorway past the bouncer wearing the massive Conquest Knight 15XO and make your way over to Nyanza Swift. The Soul Queen's blackout is spacious but minimalist. Low sight lines, no shadowy alcoves, no jacks, no data exchange, no electricity. This is the best blackout in uncontrolled airspace. Your twin sister is sitting in the back near the chop shops. She stands and you kiss her on both cheeks. Her quicksilver skin is cold against your lips. You frown. It's not that bad, she says. Oh, foot, you curse, and you are surprised by the anger in your voice. Oh, malade, prête pour mourir. You're dying. Nyanza Swift smiles, a wan, tired one, and new crow's feet crinkle her eyes. Moi fatigué. Et faible, you add, trying to keep the worry out of your voice. You look like you're about to fall over. Muy bien. I just need an hour or 2 of rest and some high-quality coal dust. You shake your head. Nkaweli, it's all over your face. You've aged 20 years since we last saw each other. Your sister's smile becomes more playful. Ma fête dans oreilles. I'm no spring chicken anymore, am I? Sispon fait jouet, you tell her, wiping your eyes. It's not funny. Nyanza Swift's smile fades fast. Ah, c'est bien-aimé moi, my kind-hearted little sister. Pas crier. She moves her chair to the other side of the table and puts her arms around you. The cold, quicksilver skin of her fine jaw touches your exposed cheek. Please don't cry. You shake your smooth brown bald head hard. M'pa vle wal boachat. I don't want you to die. But you will if you keep doing this. Wap mouri. You have no idea what she's doing to herself, but it scares you. Nyanza Swift kisses you on the temple. C'est pas rien du tout, she tells you. It's nothing. M'pa gen rien, really. Ma femme, I'm fine. You take a deep breath to push back the sob bubbling up from your chest, threatening to burst out of your mouth. You look like Mommy. Your voice is soft, it does not waver. Age looks good on you. And you mean it. Libelle, she's beautiful. You have always thought so, and you still do. Even with the crinkled crow's feet around her dark brown eyes, even with the lovely new furrows on her once smooth brow, even with the soft parenthesis bracketing her rosebud mouth. No one will mistake you for identical twins now. People will say she is your older sister, and she is. Nyanza Swift was born 6 minutes before you, but her refined beauty does not make her accelerated aging any less troubling. Kunyea, her nose, her eyes, her mouth, and her forehead look like they belong to a 40-year-old woman. This will take you some time to get used to. You are not sure you ever will. You are not sure your sister has enough life left for you to become accustomed to this look. You cannot help but wonder how much she will age in another month. You cannot help but wonder about the state of her exo. It is fused to her body, as yours is. It is her livelihood, as yours is. It is her defense against sickness and the elements and light combat, as yours is. If Nyanza Swift exo is unhealthy, if her exo is defective, you are quite certain she will die. You try not to be obvious as you give her exo a good once-over. You have always been a bit jealous of her custom-made Hennessy Venom GT Steam suit, ever since you were 13 years old. It is sleek, it is aerodynamic, it is built for speed. And to your relief, it is still immaculate. But that does not quell your fears. You have never seen someone age so fast before. Nyanza Swift takes a sip of her royal flush. I woke up one day, looked in the mirror, and my face was like this. Ou très belle. She grins wide. I know. You try to puzzle this out. When was the last time I saw you? When I bought those 2 heart engines from you. You remember. That was the first day of spring. And then it begins to make sense. You didn't sell those heart engines to the state of Illinois, you say. Your voice is pitched for her ears alone. Nyanza Swift does not blink. She does not say anything. She just rubs her own smooth brown bald head, which still matches yours. This is one of her nervous tics. She does not want to talk about the heart engines. You kept them. You're using them. Your sister allows her round and perfect head an infinitesimal nod. Both of them, double implants, a symbiotic organ system operating with seamless efficiency. Your dark brown eyes go wide. You have never heard of anything like this before. You're stressing them beyond their limitations. Nyanza Swift smirk, girlish and mischievous. I like speed. As much as you like ash poisoning, your whisper is fierce. She scowls as if she can taste the ash on her tongue. Is that what I'm coughing up every night? You open your mouth to answer her, but you do not, because the Soul Queen's evacuation klaxon sound. You and your sister were born into Chicago's spies, saboteurs, and smugglers guild, So were your mother and father. So were their mother and father. Your mother is a spy, like Nyanza Swift. Your father is a smuggler, like you. Your sister is your mother's tifi chérie. You are your father's tichouchou. You suspect your mother is a spy for the state of Illinois. You suspect your sister is a double agent. You believe she spies for both the state of Illinois and the city-state of Chicago. You are not certain because talk of politics and war is forbidden at the dinner table. That is, when your family has time to come together and eat. Like your father, you smuggle for both the state of Illinois and the city-state of Chicago. There are no rules against this. The guild allows it. The guild encourages it. Et d'ailleurs, the demand for wartime products is great from both sides. You have been smuggling heart engines in one form or another since the guild began hollowing out your abdomen to give you a vacuum-sealed soup, a smuggler's creep. Lessa, you were a third-class smuggler. Premièrement, you smuggled tricuspid, mitral, and aortic heart engine valves. The guild took most of your stomach to make space. You were 13 years old. Ensuite, you smuggled heart engine ventricles and thoracic aortas. The guild took most of your small intestine to make more space. You were 15 years old. Kunyea, you smuggled heart engines whole, often 3 at a time. The guild took most of your large intestine for maximum space. That was 6 months ago on your 18th birthday. You eat once a week now, but you are a master smuggler. The guild has taught you everything you need to know about heart engines. You know how they should be assembled. You know how they should be disassembled. But the guild did not teach you 2 heart engines can be implanted in the same chest and coexist as a symbiotic organ system. You are almost certain the guild does not know this. You would not believe it had Nyanza Swift not taken you to one of the Soul Queen's repair and relax solariums, the level above the chop shops, opened her exo-chest and shown you. As you gazed gobsmacked at your sister's inner workings, you were fascinated by the 2 heart engines working side by side, but you were also horrified by them. They were wired to her exo in a configuration you have never seen before. You did not tell your sister this because you love her. But this is sacrilege. The heart engine was not conceived to be utilized in this way. Daniel Hale Williams built the heart engine as a straightforward biomechanical organ. He meant it to sustain life. He meant it to power an exo. He meant it to do so with just water and steam. He designed the heart engines to remove water from the bloodstream and then pump that water through steam vent arteries after being heated by a small coal dust boiler in the stomach. This conversion to steam, the resultant production of energy, and the potential for thermal propulsion allows your exo-rocket's thrust and you to fly. You learned this when you were a third-class smuggler and chose a heart engine as your preferred item. And ever since then, you have believed Daniel Hale Williams to be one of the smartest people to walk the earth. So any unwarranted use of the heart engines bothers you. Such use would cause extreme wear and tear. It is a delicate organ. Even when used in the proper manner by spies and scouts and grunts on both sides of the war, it does not last more than a year. Exosuits are hard on heart engines. They take an immense amount of power to operate. The rumors you have heard these past few weeks now make sense. You would hear snippets of conversation while conducting business on the Soul Queen. Nyanza Swift is the fastest thing, living or mechanical, on Earth. Operating 2 heart engines at the same time would allow for that. But you do not think aging 2 decades in the span of 45 days is worth the bragging rights for a non-existent speed title. But you are not your sister. You are not Nyanza Swift. Growing up in Guild, you were not called Nyanza Swift the chance taker. You were not called Nyanza Swift the daring. You did not make up silly songs like this. The harder she torches, the faster she flies. The faster she flies, the more she spies. The more she spies, the faster she dies. The faster she dies, the crows taste her eyes. You do not burn your rockets too long, too hot, and too fast. You are not careless. You are not brash. You would not have ignored the excess bottom ash from your boiler, pushing up into your heart valves and your lungs. You would not have ignored the bottom ash filtering into your bloodstream, withering you away. Li pa manje anye fwet, no? No, you don't. And I am sure you will excuse the pun, a little spitfire, a hellion. You are the level-headed one. You are the cautious one. You are Saya Swift. Dipe. But even hellions get scared. This is why Nyanza Swift came to you. This is why she asked you to bring her 2 heart engines today. She does not want to be the fastest thing on earth anymore. She does not want her heart engines to fill up with bottom ash. She does not want her heart engines to seize. She does not want to have a double heart attack. She does not want to torch out. She does not want to die. The muted bioluminescence of the glowworms shift from the crown molding and the baseboard framing the walls to outline the exit of the blackout. The evacuation klaxons continue to blare. You wait at your table with Nyanza Swift to avoid the mad rush to escape the Soul Queen, to escape the state of Illinois raid. The blackout empties fast. When only you and your sister are left, you walk through one of the exits because the blackout's dampeners have rendered your suits inactive. You are calm. You are composed. You have done this before. You follow Nyanza Swift to the open far-end starboard promenade window and put on your fitted Calvaria helmet. Nyanza Swift does the same. It does not take long for you to bring your EXO online and power up your thermal rockets. Nyanza Swift goes out the promenade window first because she is much faster and you would only get in her way. But there's no chance of that. Nyanza Swift is falling fast to the earth below. Funeral glide. She's limp. Her thermal rockets have not fired. You do not see the telltale white vapor trail from them. You wonder if her hot engine have seized. Nyanza, you say to her through the Helmlink channel you share. Nothing. Nyanza Swift. Still nothing. Nyanza. You are not calm. You are not composed. You are screaming. You are crying. An Illinois National Guard Koenigsegg Agera interceptor burns rocket after Nyanza Swift's tumbling, twisting form at toute vitesse, like a shot. A second interceptor hovers before you. His side-mounted Browning M250 caliber machine guns are locked and loaded. Close behind you is the Soul Queen. He hesitates. You do not. Your side-mounted Browning M250 caliber machine gun unfolds from your right EXO arm. You blink. 2 final tears roll down your cheeks. Your vision clears. You shoot the interceptor through his left eye, shattering his helmet visor. He is dead before he begins his spiral to the ground. But you do not notice. You also do not notice the scores of other Koenigsegg Agera interceptor in pursuit of Soul Queen patrons fleeing to all points of the compass. You just focus on your sister. You put your hands tight to your side. You caught your rockets. You tumble head over heels. You are not Nyanza Swift. You conserve rocket burn wherever you can. After 3.55 seconds have elapsed, you dive hard and fast for your twin sister. You too raced when you were younger. 3 times around the city-state, north to Edgewater, west to Austin, south to Morgan Park, and east to Lake Michigan. She always won, every single time. And she should have. She is a Quicksilver class spy. There is no faster Quicksilver class, not even a Quicksilver class smuggler like you. Your EXO is a custom-made Bugatti Veyron Supersport steam suit. It is sleek, it is aerodynamic, it is built for speed, but it could never outpace your sister. Kunyea, you hope you can reach Nyanza Swift before the Koenigsegg Agera interceptor bearing down on her does. You hope the interceptor is a horrible shot, but most of all, you hope Nyanza Swift does not smash into the ground, scattering metal and ash and steam in her wake. You and Nyanza Swift were war babies. You have always known the state of Illinois and the sovereign state of Chicago trading barbs, trading bombs, and trading body bags. The hostilities started with myth. That is what you were taught in Guild. Nuclear bombs scorched the land from East Coast to West Coast. Chicago was a smoldering, glowing heap of nuclear ash. From the ash emerged Belle like a steam phoenix. She sowed the land with pristine black dirt, precious minerals, and useful metals created with heat from the steam boiler in her stomach and love from the steam clock heart in her chest. Grass and trees grew, buildings were erected, the radiation clouds dissipated, rain fell, Chicago became green again. You did not question the ridiculousness of this history. Nyanza Swift did, every night in the dark in her bunk. You tuned her out. You loved Belle for what she did. But Belle did not stay. She traveled the country, bringing her wave of green to other survivors. In her place stepped Jean-Baptiste Pointe du Sable. He was malin, clever, sly, resourceful. He named himself Lord Mayor. He seceded Chicago from the state of Illinois and created a sovereign state. He merged Creole Haïtien with the old-school Chicago politics. He made Chicago into the black market capital of the world. Chicago flourished and thrived. The state of Illinois remained stagnant. Its leader, Governor Jean-Baptiste de St. Clair, accused the city-state of selfishness, of hoarding all other wealth. To strengthen political relations, Jean-Baptiste Pointe du Sable met with Governor de St. Clair in his Hyde Park mansion on the south side. Belle would not have wanted him to do this, but Jean-Baptiste Pointe du Sable could not help himself. 10 minutes into the bab-poubab, the Lord Mayor began laughing. He could not stop. Tears streamed from his eyes. When the governor asked him what was so funny, the Lord Mayor gave him the middle finger from each hand and continued to laugh. Of course, Chicago would hoard all the wealth. It is what Chicago does. It is why Jean-Baptiste Pointe du Sable formed the city-state. Only a Jeje would think otherwise. Every so often, you would find your sister holding her stomach, laughing, with tears on her cheeks, sometimes in the Guild Hall, sometimes in the Rose Garden, sometimes in her bunk. When you asked her what was so funny, she would give you the middle finger from each hand. And then she would laugh and laugh and laugh until she could not breathe. Tikas patikas, you close in on your sister and the interceptor, your fists clenched before you Supergirl style. The Koenigsegg Agera interceptor is also sleek. It is also aerodynamic. It is also built for speed, but it is not built for combat. Neither are you, but you are a sharpshooter. You have to be in your line of work. This skill has saved your life many times over. You have just one round in the side-mounted Browning M2 50 caliber machine gun on your left exo-arm. It is all that can fit, but it is all you need. The interceptor is now in range. Nyanza Swift is 30 seconds from impact. You line up the shot, and that is when your sister's rockets burn. You swallow a breath. You hesitate. She stops spinning. She faces you. She faces the interceptor. She raises her left exo-arm. Her side-mounted Browning M2 50 caliber machine gun unfolds from its compartment. The interceptor levels his left exo-arm. She shoots. He does not. Chunks of the interceptor's helmet go flying end over end. 1.57 seconds later, chunks of your midsection go flying end over end. You feel no pain, but you know something is wrong. Your smuggler's creep has been breached. Broken bits of the hot engines you were smuggling within are flicked out into the air. The world no longer has an up or a down. You flail and wheel and tumble. The south side of Chicago prepares to catch you. The green rooftops spread and lift, waiting for your body, ready to cushion your fall with their lush flora. I do not trust this shady-ass city-state to make the catch, so I press my arm to my sides, point my toes, and dive after you. I burn my rockets long, hot, and hard as usual. My gauge is red line. I should not be doing this, but you are my sir, and I love you. My chest tightens, my body stiffens, I cannot breathe. If I do not get you within the next 15 seconds, my heart engine will seize. I will die, and you will die. I will not allow that to happen. I'm lightheaded, cold sweat rolls off my head in large drops, onto my visor, onto my neck, down my back. My vision flares with the pinpricks of white stars. I slam into you, I grab you, I hold you. We spin, we flail, we twist. I will not let you go. We hit the ground hard. I take the brunt of the impact with my back, but I do not let you go. The wind is knocked from me. My exo crunches and buckles in places. My heart engine rattles in my chest. The fenoir. Then everything goes dark. You are shaking me. I get the impression you have been doing this for some time. You scream my name. Your voice has cracked with tears. I open my eyes. You look horrible. I'm sure I look worse. The earth is gouged and scored. We have rolled and skidded and somersaulted across grass and cobblestones and concrete. My exo is damaged in places, but nothing feels broken, other than my midsection. My heart engines are relaxed. I wipe my nose and my mouth. The back of my hand is smeared with blood and ash. I start laughing. I cannot stop. Tears stream from my eyes. You start laughing too. Tears stream from your eyes. You laugh and laugh and laugh. It is a wonderful sound. And then, when we have laughed so much that we cannot breathe, we fall on our backs and we give the city-state of Chicago the middle finger from each hand.
Malon provided us with some author notes, and I wanted to share those with you. He says, this story is set in the same world as Into the Breach, which was podcasted by Escape Pod on February 22nd in 2014. Into the Breach is a story about two twin sisters who love each other very much. But one dies before the story opens. So readers only get to see one of the sisters, and how she deals with her twin's death. He says, I picked up the theme of sisterly love again in Heart of Ash, Heart of Steam, because I wanted to show the love two living twin sisters have for each other, and how each reciprocates it. I also wanted to build larger the world where the state of Illinois and the sovereign state of Chicago are at war, also seen in Into the Breach. But I wanted to show a bit more of how and why the war is taking place. Finally, I wanted to truly root this story in alternate history. I wanted to showcase a sovereign state Chicago, where Haitian Creole culture dominates, and give Chicago its wealth to become independent of the state of Illinois. All because of its founder, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, thought to be Haitian-born. But I also wanted to show an alternate history where Daniel Hale Williams, a black doctor and one of the first surgeons to perform open-heart surgery in our world, built the heart engine in this world. A feat of engineering that is used as an advantage on both sides of the Chicago-Illinois War. I always like when an author shares information with us about some of the things behind the story or the thought processes that went into it. And it's also really fun to have multiple stories running on Escape Pod that are set in the same world, so I do advise you to go check out Into the Breach if you didn't catch it the first time, or if you'd like to refresh your memory. There were so many things I enjoyed about this story, and one, of course, was the rhythm of the language that is used in this. As soon as I read the story when it was sent to me, I was trying to hear it in my head, and I think that's always a good sign for a story that's meant for podcasting. I know when I'm reading Slush for Toasted Cake, if something comes in and I'm immediately testing out how the words would sound, that's a story that's meant to be read aloud. So I was immediately looking forward to what the narrator was going to do with the story. Another thing I thoroughly enjoyed was the mental and emotional divide between the two sisters, and the way that was echoed with the physical divide between them, with the long fall and dive. I also admit to being charmed by the final image. I mean, can't you just see it? The two sisters in the wrecks of their exosuits, saluting the city-state of Chicago with the middle finger from each hand. Escape Pod is a production of Escape Artists, Inc. and is brought to you with a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Don't change it, don't sell it. Please go forth and share it. Escape Pod relies on the generous donations of listeners exactly like you. And now I know I say this every week, but we do have multiple ways to donate. You should check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/EAPodcasts because there are a bunch of extras over there. So if you enjoyed our story this week, then hop on over there and cast your vote for more stories that burn their rockets too long, too hot, and too fast. Our opening and closing music is by Daikaiju at daikaiju.org, and our closing quotation this week is from Kazuo Ishiguro in Never Let Me Go, who said, "It had never occurred to me that our lives, which had been so closely interwoven, could unravel with such speed. If I'd known, maybe I'd have kept tighter hold of them and not let unseen tides pull us apart." Thank you for listening, and have fun.